Greetings, loves. It is I, Tacticool Girlfriend. So glad to have you back here on the channel. Today I'm going to be answering a question that is often asked of me, and that is, what are the specifications of my particular AR-15 build? However, before we get too deep into the weeds here, let's give a little bit of background on the AR-15 as a weapons platform. The AR-15 was developed in the late 1950s based on Eugene Stoner's original AR-10 design, this time redesigned around the 5.56/223 intermediate cartridge. It was specifically an answer to the firepower of the AK-47 and the shortcomings of the M14 in the Vietnam War. It would be later introduced by the U.S. Armed Forces as the M16. While an age-old design, it is tried and true, and the AR-15 has enjoyed a very long legacy and a very graceful evolution throughout the years. To this very date, it is still one of the most relevant and versatile weapon platforms on the market. Alright, enough of the history lesson. Let's actually discuss my AR-15. All AR pattern rifles have two very distinct sections, a lower and an upper. I'm going to start by specifying my upper build. So with the upper, let's start with the barrel, as that's the heart of every gun. This barrel is a BCM 14.5-inch enhanced lightweight barrel. Enhanced lightweight means that it has a slimmer profile to save on weight where you can. Barrels are some of the heaviest parts of the rifle, so it is nice to have that. One of the disadvantages here is that barrels that are lighter and slimmer tend to heat up faster and become less precise through large volumes of fire. Since this is a semi-automatic rifle, I'm not too worried about it, and that trade-off is more than acceptable to me. As far as the rifling goes on the barrel, it utilizes a 1 in 7 twist rate. That means 1 revolution for every 7 inches. This twist rate is particularly versatile and very well suited for heavier rounds. The muzzle device attached to this barrel is a Surefire Warcomp. This is a combination compensator as well as flash hider. This helps reduce muzzle movement as well as your flash signature when firing. This one is suppressor ready for Surefire suppressors. One little thing to note here, this Surefire Warcomp is permanently pinned on to the 14.5-inch barrel. This is in order to meet the minimum legal requirement for the barrel to be at least 16 inches so that it is not a short-barreled rifle. Also, since this upper is from BCM, I opted to put in a BCM bolt carrier grip. One important feature to note here is also the handguard. This is a BCM MCMR handguard. It utilizes M-LOK attachment points, which have quickly become the industry standard. I also opted to put on BCM rail panels to help improve my grip. Another accessory that I installed on here is the BCM CAG, or Kinesthetic Angled Grip. This was developed in partnership with Haley Strategic. This creates a really nice indexing point for my forward grip and greatly improves overall control. Weapon-mounted lights find themselves right at home on most modern carbines. This one is a Streamlight Protac 1L 1AA dual-fuel flashlight. It's not the most powerful or fancy flashlight on the market, however it is really nice and minimalist and lightweight. To match it, I have a Frank Proctor light mount, which takes up very little space and is super small and flush and fits this light perfectly. Unfortunately, these are discontinued, but I do recommend them if you can get your hands on one. Boop, boop. One little side note here, I'm considering upgrading this weapon light. One of the contenders is the Streamlight HLX. This is a heavier but much more powerful light, rating in at 1,000 lumens. It also has this nice pressure pad right here. I also have another contender that I might be doing a review on in the near future, so please stay tuned. Another accessory I've added is the Magpul MBUS Pro flip-up iron sights, right here and right here. If my main optic goes down, these make for excellent backup sights. They are full steel, they are adjustable, very robust, very minimalist, and don't weigh too much. Speaking of sights, the optic on this rifle is the Primary Arms Raptor 1:6 low-power variable scope. This is an excellent scope for the money, and it uses the legendary ACSS reticle. It is not daytime bright, in my opinion. I will say that in a more enclosed, darker spaces, that is where the illumination on this optic shines, pun intended. This one is mounted on with an American Defense quick detach scope mount, so that if it does go down for whatever reason, I can get it off in a jiffy. Moving back on the upper, I have the Radian Raptor LT charging handle. This is a very nice, lightweight, ambidextrous, and very easy to grab charging handle. Another feature to note here is the forward assist. This is specifically designed to help seat the bolt properly into battery if it's not doing so on its own. This usually happens when you're firing large volumes of fire. Most people don't usually need to do this, especially on semi-automatic rifles, but it is a nice feature to have. Moving further back here, we have the Voltor A5 buffer system. This buffer system is actually technically longer than your normal AR-15 buffer system, and that is to increase the cyclic time and thereby reduce the felt recoil. One thing to note about the A5 system, if you are not using their specific A5 buffer tube, your stock will not collapse to the very last position due to the nature of the length of the entire system. The stock I'm using is a Bravo V5 stock. It uses a lever at the bottom to adjust your length of pull. It has contoured ends on both sides for good cheek welds, as well as a rubber pad at the very end for comfort. You'll also notice this big rubber band on my stock. This is a Ranger band. It's to help retain my sling in order to keep it out of the way until I need it. I can quickly deploy the sling just by pulling at it out of here. Speaking of slings, this is the Ferro Concept Slingster. It's a really nice 2-point sling with a quick adjustment system right here, and it's mounted on quick detachment points right here and right here. All right, we are ready to move on to the lower. This is an Aero Precision M4 E1 lower. It's nothing fancy, but it's very solidly built, and it's great for the money. This one is loaded out with an Aero Precision lower parts kit. Moving on, we have the Radiant Talon safety selector. The safety selector is 45 degrees as opposed to the conventional 90 degrees safety. It is currently on safety. Then I go to fire, safe fire, safe fire. It's a lot easier to actuate, and I greatly prefer 45 degree safeties for this reason. Okay, let's move on to the fun stuff here. Let's talk about the trigger. This is a LaRue MBT-2S 2-stage trigger. Like most things on this gun, I do think it's a very good value, and I think it gives higher end triggers like Geisley a really good run for their money. Let's talk about the travel on the LaRue MBT-2S. There's just a couple of millimeters of take up here. You hit a very noticeable wall. Pull back just a tiny bit further. Extremely crisp break. It's like a carrot. And letting go to reset. Reset is very tactile, very noticeable. It springs forward a bit. You definitely feel it though. This is an amazing trigger. Just a heads up, the final pull weight on this trigger does average out to about 2 pounds and 8 ounces, which is pretty damn light. Now, pretty much all AR pattern rifles utilize a bolt release on the left-hand side. This is used by a reloading hand. It is very well designed, very intuitive, and easy to use. However, I did opt to install a mag pull bad lever here. This allows me to use the index finger of my shooting hand when doing reloads to send the bolt home. A lot of people are leery about this because it does require you to use your trigger finger. However, my finger does remain outside the trigger guard at all times to use it, so no worries there. Last but not least is the pistol grip. This is a Magpul K2 pistol grip. It's a bit more vertically oriented for a more modern, aggressive shooting stance, and it has a really handy storage compartment in the bottom for you to put your Skittles, your Allen wrenches, or your spare batteries in. And so that does it for my expose on my AR-15. I hope this little show and tell was useful to you, whether you're a newcomer to the platform and looking to build your own, or if you're just looking to modify your current existing one. I also want to give a big shout out to everybody on Patreon. If you want to help grow and maintain this project, please go to patreon.com/tacticoolgf. See the end of the video for the names of my biggest contributors. So that wraps up my AR-15 video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, please take care. Bye!